Hello everyone, JSimLady here. Welcome back to another Sims 4 speed build. Today we are finishing up the Forgotten Hollow townhouses. We are doing the last two homes in the row. The first one is a lover's home. We have a couple here that I kind of took inspiration from. I forget their names now. Gomez and Morticia Adams, that's what it is. I kind of took inspiration from them and I made it a very romantic lover's home. You'll see how this all comes together in a minute. They do have a teenage daughter. And, okay, so their backstory is they fell in love as teenagers, madly, deeply in love. Like, this is the one. This is the one we're gonna be together forever type of situation. And in fact, they wanted to be together forever. So they became vampires so that they could be together forever. That's how deeply in love they were. And they had a daughter. The only thing that could make everything even better yet for them is if their daughter decides to stay or become a vampire. So, children, and I'm pretty sure teenagers, do not have any kind of occult anything in The Sims 4. Sometimes I think you can tell with certain occults if they're born as the occult, but then they don't get any of the traits or magic abilities or anything till they become young adults. And in this case, they continue to age until they become young adults, which kind of makes sense. Like, if you look at vampire lore specifically, this makes sense for vampires, and it's been done many, many different ways over the years by different authors and screenplay writers and things like that. They have handled this situation of baby or children vampires many, many ways. The most recent one that I can think of is the Twilight series, where they had a baby, but she was not yet a vampire when she got pregnant with that baby. And so, technically speaking, that baby could have, should have been potentially part human, part vampire. I don't know. That part's really confusing. But if you look at it in terms of The Sims 4, the baby was born with the vampire traits and was a vampire. However, they allowed the baby to grow and mature until hitting adulthood. It's just in the Twilight series, it happens very rapidly. The child grows from infant to adult in like not even half of the time of a human would grow. So I don't know where that lore came from, if it's based on anything in history or the writer just made that up. But there have been lots of ways to deal with it. In this case, because I haven't made the actual families yet. Also, by the way, I decided to flip the last two apartments. I decided to move the rose decorated apartment over because I wasn't thinking when I started decorating the inside, and I did the lover's apartment or home there. So I had to, because the roses were meant to go with the lover's apartment home, I had to move them over to this one. It just flipped to the two. The last one on the end is a bachelor's apartment home. And also, as I was doing that, I realized I never decorated the backyard of the lover's apartment home. So I decided to go ahead and do that this time too. But anyways, back to vampire lore. It kind of makes sense, honestly, the way the writer did it in Twilight, sort of, if you think about it in a way. Um, and that's kind of how The Sims handles vampires as well, except they age normally, which would make more sense to me, honestly. That they would, everything would be normal human gestation and aging and everything. It's just once they became a certain age, they would come into their immortality and stuff. So, anyways, I haven't made the family yet, and so I'll definitely keep trying. The for the save file, the point will be that the daughter, because they're both vampires when they had her, the daughter will be born a vampire, but she is much like the son from the other apartment building. If you saw that speed build, the Hawthorne Manor apartments that I did way back when I started this save file, which you can see here in the Sims 4 save file playlist here on my channel. Much like that teenage boy, she is considering taking the cure so that she's not a vampire, because she doesn't know that she wants to be a vampire. In the case of the teenage boy from the other apartment building, his parents don't get along with each other as well. Like, they love each other and everything, but they don't always get along as well. If I remember correctly, their focus is solely on him. That is who each of them care about the most. He is number one in their lives, and so they are considering, if he takes the cure and doesn't come into his vampire powers, they are also planning to take the cure and cure themselves from vampirism. This couple, on the other hand, are so madly in love, and they chose to become vampires because they wanted to be together forever. And so as much as they love their daughter and would love for their daughter to be with them forever also, they're not sure that they want to age and die and leave each other. And so if she does take the cure, which they are very much going to try to talk her out of doing, they might not. In fact, they're very heavily considering not taking the cure because they really, really don't want to age and die, and they don't want to leave each other. They want to be together literally forever. And so that's kind of the story of this family. I'm sure that will leave this poor girl with some emotional trauma. I mean, it feels like parents can't not traumatize their children in some way, shape, or form, right? Isn't that what it sometimes feels like in life? I don't know. It feels that way to me sometimes. But anyways, she's very much a human-loving sim, even though she's very much a vampire. She loves the entirety of the human world, and so I very much decorated her room like a typical human sim teen room. And then we have the lover's bedroom here, very red and black and white, with gold medals. I don't know why. This just makes me think of both vampires and lovers. You know what I mean? This screams vampire lovers to me. The whole red and black and gold with accents of white here and there and stuff. So that's how I decorated this room. Like all the others, this room is very small. You can't fit the dresser in it, so the dresser is in the hallway. Fortunately, the smaller bedroom, though it is smaller, it's meant for children, so you can easily fit their dressers in their bedrooms, usually. Yeah, I think pretty much all of them that have children have the dressers right directly in the bedroom. And in this case, she got a desk too, so that's pretty awesome. And we are pretty much done with this one, I think. Yeah, we're pretty much done with this one. A few little more details and we can move on to the next apartment. So this one I had no idea, none, what I was going to do whatsoever. I actually finished up the lover's apartment late at night, right before bed, and my alarm telling me, hey, it's time to go do your medicine and get ready for bed and everything. I I snoozed it so that I could at the very least get the wallpaper and paint and stuff up on the walls and do the flooring and stuff. And I didn't want it to be light and bright. I didn't want to do this like every other situation where we have a dark vampire-esque apartment and then a bright cheery apartment and then a dark vampire-esque apartment and then a bright cheery apartment. I don't know why, but I feel dark and moody and mysterious with the vampires. So I like the darker themes better, somewhat better, for the vampires. Even though clearly they also have the very light themes going on as well, and it works. My personal preference is the darker themes and looks for the vampires. And this was no exception. I just grabbed some dark... I think I went with blues because there wasn't a lot of any other blue going on in this building. So I just grabbed some dark blues and grays to put in there. And then when I came back the next morning, I'm like, this looks like a bachelor's apartment for sure. And so that's kind of what I went with. A sort of slightly under-decorated bachelor living on his own, into gaming, kind of slightly messy, but not terribly so. The problem with these apartment home things is that they're very narrow, and it's very easy to block your Sims in these. Like, very easy. And so I wanted to be as careful as possible and not block any walkways or anything. Like I've said before, I have seen videos where other people's Sims will use corner countertops, and other people's Sims will be able to move between a bed and a dresser that's a half a tile apart just fine. My Sims won't. I don't know what I'm doing wrong with the building process that my Sims won't do that, but something I am doing or something about my game makes it so that my Sims will not move between a dresser and a bed that is a half a tile apart. And my Sims won't use corner countertops at all, ever. I have never once been able to get a Sim to use a corner countertop. Ever. And I have tried and tried and tried, and they just won't do it. I don't know why. It's the weirdest thing. So, I build for my game specifically and for other people who might have a game that works similar to mine, plus might be on a lower end computer or whatever. And so I like to leave lots of space so the Sims don't get stuck on anything anywhere and throw a tantrum. The other thing is I should mention again that the Sims team, they are looking at several things, but the most important, biggest thing that they are looking for is, are looking at for save file corruption, infinite load screens, and things like that, is that if you have a massive save file that's just filled completely up with very, very heavily decorated and cluttered lots. Like, even my lots are kind of borderline, especially the for rent lots are kind of borderline at being too overly cluttered and decorated, and their file size being too large, and having those massive amounts of large lot sizes in terms of not the actual like 64 by 64 versus 30 by 30. The actual lot size itself doesn't matter, it's the file size of the lot, and having too many of those really messes up the game badly, like really badly. One last thing on a personal level before we get into the walkthrough. Did I say something? Did I do something? Because if I did, I'm really sorry. Sometimes when I am severely sleep deprived for a long time, I ramble on about nonsense and I literally have no idea what I'm saying. So if I said something stupid or something, can someone let me know? Because I feel like everything and everyone has abandoned me all of a sudden. And I don't know what I did wrong. So, I just try to interact with people and I just keep getting the cold shoulder unless I'm doing a giveaway and my numbers have dropped on YouTube and nobody replies to me on any of the other social media sites when I try to interact. I feel like, well, not everyone, but I feel like I'm doing something wrong because most everyone have just like suddenly abandoned me. I don't know. It just felt like such a dramatic shift. I went from, interacting with people to feeling like I was being completely ignored. So, anyways, enough whining. Let's get into the walkthrough. Got a couple more details and then we can do the walkthrough. Okay, so here we are at the front. A pretty nondescript. Yeah, I'm not sure what style this is. I saw it online and I copied it. The top pieces are there just for decoration, nothing more. It's just, each is just 2 stories and that's it. I did put a plasma fruit tree out here on the corner for them, but I mean, they have this huge plaza here, so really it feels like a waste to put too much on the lot because they have this huge plaza. I'm thinking about downloading ToolMod and putting like a little playground area right here and maybe like a little picnic area over in that corner, and in that corner something else, and in that corner I don't know what. So if you have ideas, let me know. And then we wouldn't really need playground stuff individually on the home lots, or adding a playground, excuse me, I don't know what happened to my voice there, adding a playground over there in that empty space right there. We have a few empty spaces actually we could add a playground for this world into. Yeah, possibly over there in that empty space, but I kind of like this little spot too. So you let me know what you think. But anyways, that's why I filled this lot up mostly with the house and not much else, like yard stuff wise. So let's go into the first one here. And we will get there someday, I promise. It's a little slow, but we will get there. Okay, so this, if you remember, is the older, more conservative, more buttoned up, straight-laced, stereotypical vampire couple. We go inside here, and they have their nicely done up kitchen. Not that they need it, but it's there. Then we've got a little dining spot for 2. We've got a little living reading space. These houses are very small, I'm telling you. There ain't much you can fit in here. Trust me. Plus we have a little guest bathroom here for guests that come by, and then again, this is their backyard, very moody and purple and just a good little sitting area for them. And then we can go upstairs here if we ever get there. Okay. We've got, since they've been vampires forever, they've got some stuff they saved from many, many collections that they've made over the years. They only saved their most favorite pieces though. We've got their bedroom here. A cozy, dark bedroom. We've got their bathroom here. The bathrooms are not too fancy. We don't care about bathrooms. And then this is the husband's office slash workroom. He worked or was in like the Navy at some point in his like mortal life before he became a vampire. And now that he's a vampire, he fixes things. Well, this mouse, he learns about stuff, he fixes stuff. He just tries to fill his time tinkering. That's him. And then we go downstairs. Maybe if I can get out of the actual staircase here, there. And we go next door. We will get there. Look at that cute little front garden. Is that not adorable? I think that's adorable. So we come in and we have a young gay couple who have adopted a son. They have a very bright and happy and cheery. It's still very vampire-esque. It's just a happier place to be than the rest of the apartments. It's very cheery, and you wouldn't walk in and expect there to be vampires living here. But there are, and they have no intention of turning their adopted son into a vampire. And they're considering adopting another child while they're at it. So that's the living room and dining room and kitchen. Here's the cute little bathroom for guests. Here is their little backyard with a little play spot for their son. Let's go upstairs. It is a very happy little apartment house thingy. I'm glad I made this one very bright and happy. It does make me smile to have this happy little apartment here, or house. They're kind of houses, but also kind of apartments. So over here we have the adult's bedroom. Again, very bright and cheery. We've got a bassinet cradle thingy for another baby they'd like to welcome to the family. And then their fun, cheery little bathroom here. And then their son's room. I love this wallpaper so much. It's so cute. I love that so much. Okay, their son's room here. And so there's that one. Let's go to the next one. This mouse scrolls in and out on its own all the time. Oh, you know what? I never noticed that giant log laying on its side before over there. We could put a little park over there, potentially, I bet. Oh, yeah, I bet we could put a little park over there between the two trees. Let me know down in the comments what you think of that idea. I'd have to figure out how to use Tool Mod, but, you know, I could learn, I think. I'm not that old yet. So here is the lover's home with their teenage daughter. They have a little bit more going on in their kitchen, like the happy couple next door, because they have a child living here who needs actual food. So they got a little bit more going on in their kitchen, but we've got a little 3-person dining area here, and then we've got a cozy little living space here. We've got the guest bathroom right here, very moody and dramatic. We've got the backyard back here, a lover's blanket, if you will, a cozy love seat bench, and then a 2-seater outdoor table where they can enjoy the moonlit evenings. And then let's head upstairs here. We've got the dresser in the hallway again. Got some cute art there. The lover's bedroom. Lots of gold and red and black. Very dramatic. Very lovely. I've got the basic bathroom again. Nothing fancy again. And then the teenage daughter's room here. I think it's cute. It's a good mixture of occults plus normal Sim stuff, I think. Mostly normal Sim stuff. She really does not want to be a vampire forever. So she very much is going to be taking that cure, I think. And then we will head to the, technically, is this 1? No, this would be 4, right? If you're looking at it from the front, number 1 is way down on the end. Yeah, okay, so this would be apartment or home number 4. And we've got the kitchen here that is just used for clutter because it's a bachelor sim and he's a vampire, so he doesn't need the kitchen. So he tends to clutter everything up with paperwork from work and stuff like that. He's got a little sitting area here for when and if he has guests over. His living room, he's very much on his own. A little bit messy, very much into playing video games every night, but it's his space, so he can do what he wants with it, right? And then we've got his guest bathroom here. He's very much into working out as well. Nothing in his backyard because he really couldn't care less about the backyard space. So there's that. He prefers video games and weightlifting to anything else. So let's head upstairs. He's got lots of closet space here in the hallway for himself. Here is his dark and moody bedroom. Just set up for one lonely little sim. His bathroom. He can have everything just the way he likes it. And then a storage / workout room here. Not too much going on in here. Again, he's on his own. So he doesn't really need that second bedroom per se, but he uses it. So there we go. There is the Forgotten Hollow 4-home townhouses. And don't forget, you can check out Hawthorne Manor down there in the back. I did that a long, long time ago, it feels like now, months ago. I think it was the very first thing that I did for this save file, or maybe the second thing. So if you check out the save file playlist here on my channel, you can see that one there. And then we have this one, and these are going to be the only 2 for rental places here in Forgotten Hollow. That one over there is going to be a home and home business, and that one's gonna stay as it is, as well as Vlad's, which you can't see from here, is also gonna stay as it is. So there you have it. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!